Welcome back for another episode of Civility Wins, the Family Law Edition. I am your host, Kristen Goss, founder and owner of KWG, Family Legal and Mediation Services. We're your knowledgeable, warm, and gracious attorneys. We help spouses divorce with civility, creating a legacy for those they love most. And today I have esteemed marketing guru, but also friend and colleague, Adam Rossen, criminal defense attorney. Thank you for joining me again, and I am excited about our conversation today.
Thanks for having me, Kristen. I know we've been talking about this for a few months, so I'm very excited to get here and hang with you. Yeah.
So very briefly, for those of you who don't know Adam, he is the visionary at Rossen Law Firm.
Sounds fancy, doesn't it?
It does. I love it. Visionary.
I don't think I'm that fancy, but it sounds fancy.
I like it. I don't know. I like to dream. Dreams are good. It's good. He's dedicated and he's an advocate for justice and community empowerment in South Florida. I could attest to that for sure. He's a former prosecutor turned defense attorney.
Yep, to the right
talk
side.
A little bit about that. He said the right side. He blends legal expertise with a passion for mentorship, philanthropy, and reform. Through charitable initiatives, youth coaching, and outreach programs, he fosters trust and connection. And since establishing specialized programs and educational initiatives, his commitment to making a difference extends beyond the courtroom, ensuring individuals receive both strong advocacy and compassionate support. So we'll talk about a lot of that today because you're doing a lot of things, and I want to be like you when I grow up. I know we're like the same age, but still.
I know. Well, so I'll say that, that's such a nice, humbling bio. I hear you say that, and I'm like, wow. But we talked earlier, with the three of us, with you, me, and Ashley, about marketing. And so that's an example where your bio can actually be a great marketing piece. I didn't write that. I could never write that. My team did. But that is me. And I'm sitting there listening. I was like, wow, I do that. We do that. The firm does that. Wow. And sometimes I don't even most times I don't think about that. I just think about moving forward, next steps. What do we got to do? How can we help people? How can we grow? And then when you hear that, especially the way it's packaged, it's like, that is me and that is what we do at the firm. Whoa. So that's very humbling, when I hear you say that. But that's, I think, a very good example of good marketing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he's amazing, you guys.
Thank you.
Very amazing. So first question I have for you. I'm a family law attorney, as you know, but I don't do domestic violence, as you know. Unfortunately, sometimes, though, when people are going through divorce or contemplating a divorce, domestic violence is kind of like one of the things that happens. And so my question to you is, do you handle domestic violence cases? That's one question. And I have another question.
So yes, we do. We've handled domestic violences from the beginning. We do the civil restraining orders, and that's the only area of law that's not pure criminal. And we do the criminal defense domestic violence cases as well.
Okay. So this may be a silly question, but I thought I'd still ask it. Do you represent the victim or the alleged victim of the allegation or the accuser?
So that's a great question, Kristen. And I'm going to weave in core values into that decision.
Okay.
So in 2018, Florida came out with Marsy's Law, which gave extra constitutional protections to victims of crimes. Now, a lot of state attorneys actually came out against Marsy's Law because it allowed victims to interfere with the criminal justice system. But it was a hot button political topic, and it passed. And once that passed, a lot of criminal defense lawyers started marketing for victim representation. And we had a few of these. And then once we started on EOS and had our core values, and I look at, when you have core values, a mission and vision, it's a system for making good decisions. And I said to our team, wait, hold on here. Our purpose is to help good people when bad things happen so they can achieve their best future through criminal defense. And it's very disingenuous to us, or just disingenuous or hypocritical, if we have now 10 clients who are victims and we're going to court to advocate for somebody to be put in prison or be put in jail or have a criminal history. And I said, wait a minute, that's, our purpose as criminal defense lawyers is not just to make money, it's to help people and make our community a better place. We do a lot with mental health and substance abuse. So when I sat there, maybe it was driving home one day and I'm like, how can I reconcile this? And I realized I can't. So unless it is a close personal friend of anybody in the firm, or unless we are representing a victim who wants charges dismissed, who does not want to prosecute, we as a law firm do not handle victim representation to prosecute somebody else. We've had that as a decision for, I'd say, at least the last 3 years. And we're losing money on that, but we feel a lot better about ourselves because we are true to our mission. And to my knowledge, I don't know any other criminal defense firm that has made that decision. So we have, and we're very happy and proud to do that because that's in alignment with our core values.
I love it. And it's important. You brought up a good point to stay true. And I think authenticity is key when you're representing people because, I mean, I'm an energy person, right? Like you can just feel when something's off and you definitely want to be true. And I can attest to Adam and his work. He is what he says. And what they do in their core values, and you definitely hold true to it. So
we don't view ourselves as mercenaries. A lot of criminal defense lawyers, they're mercenaries. You pay them, they come in, they do a job, they leave. And we all know from being students of history, mercenary armies mostly lose wars. They don't win wars because they're not really fighting for something they're passionate about or for a cause. And so we are not mercenaries. We tell our clients we're not mercenaries. We're coming in, we're becoming part of your family. Right? Now, I always preface that with the good part of your family that you like, that actually cares about you. Because as you know, sometimes family can be a very bad, toxic thing. But no, we're the good part of your family to come in and fight for you, whatever that means for you in your specific situation. But that's us. We are not mercenaries.
You're very community involved.
Yes.
I'm going to get to that in a minute. But can you share with the audience a story that stands out and why?
Sure, yes. Now, domestic violence situation, okay. I get a call from a husband. It's 7 o'clock, 7:30 at night. He is distraught. They took my wife. They arrested my wife. They're taking her to jail, okay. And this was back maybe 2017, 2018 when, I was still doing everything. Maybe the firm had 3 or 4 people. Now we have about 25 people on our team. And so as I'm talking with him and figuring this out, it was a domestic violence situation. Him and his wife, a little bit of marital troubles. Okay, fine. Things happen. They're at dinner and they're arguing. So his wife picks up a fork and he said to her, "What are you going to do? Throw it at me?" And she goes, "Yeah, you jerk," and threw it at him. It's a fork. She threw it at him. Okay, not a good thing, but is that something to go to jail over? Now, his mistake was he called the police to be therapists and peacemakers. The problem with that is most police are not trained. Well, none of them are trained therapists, but they're not really trained to. Okay, let me step back. Their way to de-escalate situations is to make an arrest and send somebody to jail. That's how they're trained to de-escalate, usually more with their muscles than with their words. And especially in the context of domestic violence, somebody has to go to jail. So they came and they're dragging her to jail. And, he was so distraught. That was not what he wanted. And then I learned more about he hired us to represent her. Well, she is in the dental field. She's a dentist. Okay. She went to an Ivy League dental school. She, is a woman and a minority. And when you think about that, I just, I'm like, wow, she is a highly educated professional. Ivy League educated. What she's had to do and probably overcome in her life to get to this point is remarkable. And it could all be ruined at the snap of a fingers because she picked up a fork and threw it at her husband, right? This was not a brawl. This was not years of physical, mental, or emotional abuse. This was just, they were going through some little things, but who doesn't in a relationship? She made a poor choice. Yes, right? She made a poor choice. Technically speaking, that's a battery. Okay. But should she really go to jail for this? And should she really be prosecuted? Now, we got hired. We got her out of jail. We took care of the case. The case was dismissed in about 2 weeks. But we had ACA, Florida Agency of Healthcare Administration, we had to deal with. We had professional licensure issues we had to deal with. We had to just Google in her professional reputation, not only getting the charges dropped, but it's still a public record. Then we had to expunge her record and go through all these things. And of course, the mental and emotional toll that this took on her was tremendous. And I always love to bring this up because, most of us think, when we think about domestic violence, abusive men. And yes, that does happen quite a bit. That still is the most common part, or most common kind of issue with domestic violence. But it can be women, and it can be professionals, and it can be professionals who've never been in trouble before in their life. And it could be literally just a bad argument where the police come to be peacemakers, and the people that call them don't realize what their policies, procedures, and protocols require them to do. So I'm glad you asked me that, because I love telling that story.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. And it's true. You brought up a good point, because we're all human, and, we make mistakes. And I think that's one thing that makes you stand out from other people, like not just the passion and the care, staying true to who you are, and then not being judgy, right? You're in a field where you can't judge someone based on what it says on the paper.
Right. No
and so I
judgment.
think that's powerful.
Right. And look, I'm not the most religious person, but I'm more a little spiritual. But most people, what's the phrase? But for the grace of God, go I. Right.
Yeah.
We've all done things. We've all made mistakes. And who are we really to judge? And in today's day and age, one little mistake like that can ruin everything you've built your whole life and reputation for. You've worked so hard with the internet and everything out there, and the stigma that's attached. So I always tell our clients, we don't want our client to have that scarlet C for criminal on their chest. And that's a big thing that we're trying to avoid.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. So getting into the community involvement, you have so much that you can share. And so I'll defer to you on that, because it's important for people to know. That's why I'm asking. Besides the attorney, besides the marketing guru, how do you get involved in your community?
Right. Well, so first of all, I chose something that I was very passionate about, which has always just been children. I was a high school basketball coach, so teenagers, right now I have a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. My children are everything to me. And I even chose this before I had children. But to go back a little bit, I couldn't get involved in the community the way I wanted to until I started to have the upward trajectory in the firm. So for a lot of people who may be listening to this, attorneys, well, I'm happy where I am, or I don't really want to grow. Well, that's okay. You don't have to grow to my current size now. But when I grew a little bit and was starting to grow, and I made money and had extra money, then I can start, using that money or the time to be more involved and to pick something. So, and I wanted to tie it to marketing, and I wanted to make it fun. So there's a local charity called In Jacob's Shoes that I've known the founders of this since 2008 when they founded it. I actually knew Jacob before he tragically passed away in 2008. And I always wanted to be involved. But again, not enough money, not really enough time. And when I started growing, I think it was about 2017, Jacob's sister, Alicia, who she's actually right now president of the South Palm Beach County chapter of Fall.
Okay.
She's an attorney. She was my intern as well, way, way, way back when. And I called her and I said, Alicia, I love In Jacob's Shoes. I go every year, just me and, my wife to some of your events. But how can I be more involved? I want to have more of an impact. And I said, I have some ideas. So we went to coffee and we talked. And what I came up with was, for every referral that we get, whether they hire us or not, because I wanted the numbers high, we will donate a pair of shoes through In Jacob's Shoes to children in need. And so it does a few things. Number one, since 2017, we've donated over 1,300 pairs of shoes to children in need, and we have a counter in our office.
Oh, wow.
And so our teammates see it, clients can see it, so they know that this is a good place, right, that we give back. They know that we're a safe place to refer. It encourages, Kristen, people like you, and you're like, wow, not only is Adam going to do a great job, but you mean I can this is going to translate into shoes donated for our kids in our community? Absolutely. So I'm blending the two together, just being a little creative with it and making it fun. So we've done that, and that's been huge. But it's more than that. my team, we go every year now to the back to school event that they're a part of. So just a few weeks ago at the end of July, we were there at one of the high schools in Delray Beach through the Spirit of Giving Network. We donated our time through In Jacob's Shoes. We acted as personal shoe shoppers to help the kids get fitted for the shoes that we and many others donated.
That's awesome.
And what I always say is anybody can watch a football game after a hurricane and see text to this number and $10 will go to the American Red Cross. The American Red Cross is an amazing organization, right? But you don't see and feel the impact. You don't know what percentage of every dollar goes to people. So I wanted to partner with a local charity where we can see it, feel it, live it, breathe it. And that has led to the founders, the family, the Zweig family, coming to me in 2020 or 2021 and say, Adam, we want you to be on our board of directors. And I never thought of that. That wasn't my goal. But I was, again, so humbled and gracious and thankful for that opportunity. I said, absolutely. How else can I help? And it just kind of, again, when you grow your business a little bit here and there, and then you can think it through. And that was really just my intention of how can we help? And there's been a lot of great opportunities for me, but there's been a lot of great help that my team can now do for our local community. We see the impact, we feel the impact. And the one last thing I'll tell you is, and this is amazing, last year, the day of the big gala, which is always in October, we had a client come in. I forget the exact issue, relatively minor situation. And I say relatively minor, it's major for all of our clients. Him and his wife came in and we're meeting with them. One of our attorneys was meeting with them, to get them, and they were going through the intake and sign up process to hire us. And we said, look, we're sorry, we don't mean to rush you, but we all have to go to this big gala for this charity In Jacob's Shoes, and let us tell you a little bit about it. They started crying, the husband and wife. And our lawyer said to them, I said, why are you crying? And they said, a few years ago, our kids were the beneficiaries of new school shoes through In Jacob's Shoes. I knew I called the right place. What you guys are doing is so amazing. I know you're going to help us through this situation. Thank you. And we were so touched. I mean, and of course, couldn't believe it. It was the day of the gala, right? So to be able to see that on both ends is just, it's so amazing. And how can you not be a criminal defense lawyer without trying to help our community, right?
Yeah.
And lawyers in general.
Yeah.
Lawyers, most people become lawyers not because they think they're going to get rich, but because you're not, but because you want to help people.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. And knowing your why and understanding who you are as a human being, I think is a very big precursor to that.
Thank you for sharing. I want to hear more about that offline. But Adam Rossen, everybody, he's amazing. He's not only an amazing attorney, he is a philanthropist, as the bio does say.
Right.
And he's authentic, and that's what I love. I love that about you, the authenticity.
And I screw things up too. Like we're here talking about great things. I make mistakes every single day.
Yeah.
I own it. I live it. But you got to learn from it.
And that's the power of it, right? Holding ourselves accountable.
Yes.
It's like I said, no one's perfect, but it's how you deal with it and how you get out of it. I did it. I screwed up. Okay, what can I do to move forward?
And not being afraid to test or try something. And if it doesn't work, so what?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Make a new decision. Test something else.
Yeah.
Make a new plan. It's
Yeah.
okay.
One last question for you. If people want to learn more about you, where can they go if they have, let's say, a domestic violence or other, because you're a full service criminal defense attorney.
We do state court cases right now, basically Upper Keys through Palm Beach County. If it's a big enough, important enough case and we want to, and we can provide value that we believe other lawyers can't, we will take the show on the road. For state court cases, for federal and white collar cases, we handle those nationwide now. We're very easy to find. You can Google me, Adam Rossen, the Rossen Law Firm. I'm very big now on LinkedIn. That's my new spot. Doing well with that. We're also on TikTok and Instagram and still Facebook and everything, but I'm really doing a lot on LinkedIn. And Kristen, I did want to say one thing.
Sure.
And maybe we can even do a whole nother episode on this if you want. But in your questionnaire, you asked about something new that we're that we're working on.
Yes.
And I wanted to talk a little bit about that just very quickly. So I've actually partnered with, and I'm now one of the co-owners of an amazing AI voice company that is so much more than voice AI. And we can talk a lot about that. But it's called Meet Gabby. And for my firm, I tested about 20 different voice AI companies in and outside of legal. And by far, Gabby was the best. And I loved it so much. And it's been so great for the firm that I've now become a part owner of the company. And I'm so excited. And we really want to show lawyers and other people, but really right now it's the legal industry across the country what Gabby can do. We have big things planned where we're talking, it's going to replace my answering service. It's going to replace my intake. That's as things progress. Redo our live chat as well, and so much more from the legal production side of gathering, collecting documents and information and everything. So I just want to give a quick plug for that. But if you want to, we can discuss all the cool things, because we're in this new land of AI, and like lawyers, like marketing, like everything, some are great, some are not so great. Mm-hmm. And I've taken the time to really vet it, and I loved it so much that I said, I want in. Mm-hmm. And so, I just want to thank you for letting me give that a quick plug. And if anybody wants to talk about that, I can. And I'd love to even go dive deeper, because there's going to be some great use cases mm-hmm. for family law that we're working on: criminal, family, personal injury, estate planning, really all of that. It's very lifelike. It's scary. It's scary good.
So this is part 1 then. Right. Part 2 to be determined.
Okay.
Tune in. So don't miss it.
Thanks.
Thank you again for joining. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks so much, Kristen. Anytime I can hang with you is great.
Yes. Agreed. So you have watched another episode of Civility Wins, the Family Law Edition. Again, I'm Kristen Goss, your host, founder and owner of KWG Family Legal and Mediation Services. We are your knowledgeable, warm, and gracious attorneys. We help spouses divorce with civility, creating a legacy for those they love most. And finally, my last ask, again, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Part 2 with Adam on that AI app you don't want to miss. Take care.